The wind came off the plains like a blade, cutting through wool and bone and memory. The train station was a low brick building with a clock that had stopped years ago, its hands fixed at a time no one remembered. Snow had drifted into the corners, piling up where boots rarely walked. On the bench near the tracks, a woman sat with her hands tucked beneath her arms, her breath coming out in small white ghosts. She watched the dark rails as if they might answer her, as if the steel could speak and tell her when the next train would come, or if it ever would. He saw her because he had learned to see things others passed by. That was how he had made his money, noticing what no one else wanted to notice. The horses in a bad season, the land no one believed in, the town everyone had given up on. He had been called many names since then. Millionaire. Baron. Lucky devil. Cowboy, said with a laugh by men who wore suits and had never ridden through a storm. He wore his wealth the way he wore his coat, plain and warm and unremarkable to anyone who did not look close. He had not planned to stop. The driver had suggested they push through to the city before night fell, but the sky had a look to it, the kind that made a man trust his bones over a schedule. He told the driver to pull in. The car idled and the wind pressed against the doors. He stepped out and felt the cold reach for his throat. She did not look up when he approached. Her face was pale, lashes rimmed with frost, hair pulled back with a discipline that suggested habit and exhaustion. He noticed her shoes first. They were thin, soaked through, toes curled inward as if trying to make themselves smaller. "Are you waiting for the eastbound?" he asked. Her voice came rough, as if it had been rubbed raw. "It was cancelled. They said maybe tomorrow." Tomorrow is a long time in this weather. She gave a short laugh that did not warm anything. "I know." He took off his coat without thinking. It was heavy, lined, smelled faintly of leather and smoke. When he draped it over her shoulders, she startled, finally meeting his eyes. They were the kind of eyes that had learned to be careful. Not afraid exactly, but alert to the cost of kindness. "You do not have to do that," she said. "I know," he said. "But you do." She hesitated, then let the coat stay. Her hands shook as she tucked it close. "Thank you." He sat on the bench beside her. The wind roared past the station, rattling the loose metal sign. He asked her name. She said Anna. He told her his was James, because that was his name and because it felt honest to say it plainly. "What brings you here, James?" she asked. "A meeting that did not happen." "And you?" "A job that ended." She looked down at her hands. "I was a nurse at the county hospital. They closed a wing. I was last hired, first gone." He nodded. He knew the way endings arrived quietly, with paperwork and apologies and no real help. "Where are you going?" he asked. "Anywhere there is work." She paused. "East, I thought. My sister is there, but she has children and a small place." I did not want to be a burden. The word hung between them, heavy as the cold. Burden. He had known that word once. He had known it so well that he had built his life around never feeling it again. "There is a hotel in town," he said. "It is not much, but it is warm." "I have no money." "I do." She looked at him sharply then, pride flaring. "I do not want charity." He smiled, not unkindly. "Neither do I. Let me offer you supper and a bed. Tomorrow you can decide what you want." She studied his face, searching for something she could not name. Finally she nodded. "Just tonight." The hotel smelled of old wood and coffee that had been boiled too long. The woman at the desk raised her eyebrows when she saw them, but said nothing. In the dining room, Anna ate slowly, as if afraid the food might disappear. James watched without staring, listening to the way the room hummed with the small sounds of survival. When she had finished, color returned to her cheeks. She told him about the night shifts, the way she learned to read pain by the tilt of a head, the silence of a ward at 3 in the morning. He told her about the ranch, about land that had been dust once and green now, about the patience it took to wait for things to grow. "Why did you come back?" she asked. "If you have so much." He thought of the city and its noise, the deals that left him hollow. "Because this place made me who I am," he said. "And because sometimes you have to return to know what you have become." They did not touch. They did not promise anything. When they parted for the night, she thanked him again, her voice softer now, warmer. In the morning, the snow had eased, leaving the world bright and sharp. The train was still cancelled. Anna stood in the lobby with her bag at her feet, uncertainty written in every line of her body. "Come with me," James said. She frowned. "Where?" "To the ranch. You can stay until you find work. Or longer. No obligations." She shook her head. "I cannot." "You can. And you will work, if that is what you need. There is a clinic nearby that could use a nurse. Or you can rest." She closed her eyes, just for a moment, as if bracing herself. Then she nodded. "All right." The ranch was a place of wide skies and slow days. Anna learned the rhythm of it quickly. She rose early, helped where she could, rode with James to check fences and water. At the clinic, she was welcomed like rain after drought. She worked hard, came home tired and satisfied. James watched her find her footing, the way she laughed more easily, the way her shoulders relaxed. He told himself he was only glad to have helped. He told himself many things. One evening, as the sun bled into the hills, she stood beside him at the fence. "I have not asked," she said, "why you were at the station that night." He considered the truth. "I was running from something," he said. "Or toward it." "I am not sure." She smiled. "Maybe both." They fell in love the way people do when they are not looking for it. Quietly, with shared meals and long talks, with small gestures that meant more than grand ones. He learned the scar on her wrist was from a childhood accident. She learned the reason he never talked about his father was because he had never known him. The twist came in spring, when a man arrived with papers and a smile too smooth to trust. He claimed a piece of land that cut through the ranch, land James had believed was his. The dispute threatened everything. The clinic. The town. The life they had begun to imagine. James fought, but the law was a cold thing. He grew distant, weighed down by failure. Anna watched him retreat and felt old fears rise. One night, she packed her bag. "I cannot watch you lose yourself," she said. "I cannot be another thing you lose." He reached for her, too late. She left before dawn, the station swallowing her once more. History remembers what happened next as a series of events. James sold part of his holdings to save the land that mattered. He funded the clinic outright. He went east, found Anna in a city hospital, pale again under fluorescent lights. He did not beg. He told her the truth. "I am afraid," he said. "But I love you more than my fear." She looked at him for a long time. Then she took his hand. They returned together. They married in the small church by the river. Over the years, the ranch became a place of refuge, the clinic a model others followed. People spoke of the millionaire cowboy and the nurse who changed a town. But what made history was simpler. On cold nights, when the wind cut like a blade, they would sit together and remember a frozen bench and a coat given without thought. And they would know that love, when it comes, often arrives disguised as mercy, waiting to be recognized before it slips away.